The Crethean warship Talon's Edge hummed with anticipation as Sarah walked through its corridors. The human instructor had been teaching at the Galactic Military Academy for 3 cycles now, but this assignment was different. She was heading to the Juveniles Wing, a place few instructors volunteered to go. Cretheans were apex predators, standing 8 feet tall with obsidian scales and eyes that could track movement across 3 spectrums simultaneously. Their empire had conquered 17 systems through sheer martial prowess. But their young? Their young were considered unteachable, too aggressive, too proud, too convinced of their biological superiority. Sarah pushed open the training hall doors. 20 pairs of golden eyes turned toward her, sizing her up like prey. At the front stood Drac, the largest of the cubs, his scales already darkening to adult hues. His reputation preceded him, brilliant, ruthless, and utterly dismissive of non-Crethean tactics. Another soft-skinned teacher, Drac growled in galactic standard, his accent thick with contempt. "Come to tell us about human feelings." Sarah smiled, setting down a small container. "Actually, I'm here to teach you how my species conquered Earth." The room erupted in hissing laughter. Humans were known across the galaxy as the diplomatic species, the mediators, the bridge builders. Not warriors. Never warriors. Humans had no claws, Sarah continued, her voice cutting through the noise. No venom, no armored scales. We were weaker than the predators, slower than the prey. By every measure, we should have been extinct within a generation. Drac's ear frills flattened, a sign of interest despite himself. "Then how did you survive?" "We cheated." Sarah opened the container, revealing small wooden pieces and a folded board. "We couldn't win by fighting fair, so we learned to fight smart. We studied our enemies. We set traps. We turned their strengths into weaknesses. And we practiced these skills through games." She unfolded the board, a checkered pattern of 64 squares. The cubs pressed closer, their natural curiosity overriding their arrogance. "This is chess," Sarah explained. "A war game humans invented thousands of years ago. Every piece moves differently. The goal isn't to be strongest, it's to be smartest." For the next 6 hours, Sarah taught them. She showed them how a pawn, the weakest piece, could become a queen. How a knight could bypass defenses through unexpected angles. How sacrificing material could lead to devastating attacks. The cubs were transfixed, their predatory brains recognizing something primal in the game's logic. Drac proved to be a natural. His aggressive style evolved as he learned to set traps 3 moves ahead, to feint weakness before striking. "This is different," he admitted, moving a bishop to fork Sarah's king and rook. "Not direct combat. Indirect advantage." "Exactly," Sarah said, escaping the trap with a counterattack. "Humans call it asymmetric warfare. When you can't match your enemy's strength, you change the battlefield." As the lesson ended, Drac's eyes gleamed with new understanding. "Teacher Sarah, tomorrow we have our evaluation combat against the adult warrior instructors. It's tradition, cubs always lose, but..." He looked at the chessboard. "Could these principles work in real combat?" Sarah met his gaze. "Drac, these principles are real combat. Chess is just the training ground." That night, Sarah watched through the observation deck as Drac gathered the other cubs. They huddled around hastily drawn diagrams, their claws tracing tactical movements. She saw them arguing, planning, their young minds adapting human strategic thinking to Crethean capabilities. The next morning, the combat arena was packed. Adult Cretheans filled the stands, eager to watch their cubs receive the traditional humbling. The warrior instructors entered first, 10 scarred veterans, each a champion of their clan. Then came the cubs, led by Drac. Commandant Threx activated the holographic battlefield, a simulated urban environment. Standard doctrine dictated the adults would use their experience and strength to overwhelm the juveniles within minutes. The battle began. The adults advanced in traditional Crethean formation, a direct assault, meant to showcase overwhelming force. But the cubs didn't meet them head-on. Instead, they scattered, disappearing into the holographic buildings. "Cowardice," growled Commandant Threx. "They run." Sarah said nothing, watching Drac's team execute the plan. The first adult warrior entered a building, pursuing what appeared to be a lone cub. The floor collapsed, a trap. While he struggled free, 3 cubs struck from different angles, eliminating him through coordinated strikes rather than individual glory. The adults regrouped, suspicious now. They moved more cautiously, covering each other. Good tactics. Expected tactics, which was exactly what Drac had anticipated. Two cubs broke cover in an apparent suicide run. The adults took the bait, pursuing them into an open plaza. As they charged, the remaining cubs emerged from every building simultaneously, creating a three-dimensional envelopment. The adults found themselves in the center of a kill zone, forced to fight in all directions. It was the human concept of defeat in detail, isolating and overwhelming portions of a larger force. The adults, trained for honorable combat, found themselves picked apart by an enemy that refused to fight fairly. Within 8 minutes, it was over. 20 cubs stood victorious over 10 adult instructors. The arena fell silent. Then slowly, the Crithian audience began a rumbling growl, their equivalent of applause. Commandant Threx approached Sarah, his expression unreadable. "Explain," he demanded. "They learned to think like humans," Sarah said simply. "To see warfare not as a test of strength, but as a puzzle to solve. Your cubs didn't become weaker. They became smarter." Drac approached, his chest heaving with exertion, but his eyes bright with triumph. "Teacher Sarah, we have a question." "Ask." "If humans were so weak and you survived by fighting smart." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "What happened when humans finally became strong and smart?" Sarah smiled, an expression that didn't reach her eyes. "We became the species that other predators call for help. We became the ones who teach apex predators how to hunt." The cubs looked at each other, understanding dawning. Humanity's reputation as peacekeepers wasn't about weakness. It was about being so dangerously competent at warfare that they'd learned to avoid it. "Tomorrow," Drac said, "teach us more games." As Sarah left the arena, she heard the cubs already planning, already adapting. She'd given them a gift more valuable than any weapon, the human way of war. Not through superior strength, but through superior thinking. Behind her, Commandant Threx watched the cubs celebrate their impossible victory. He made a note to recommend human tactical instructors for every military academy in the sector. After all, any species that could turn their weaknesses into weapons deserved respect. And any species that could teach predators to hunt better than their instincts deserved fear. Human war games had just changed the galactic balance of power, one chess piece at a time.